and welcome to another episode of Florida Foodie. I'm Lisa Bell, and today I am finally joined by my co-host, Candace Campos.
Dun-sa-da-dun. The stars have aligned, Lisa, and today we are talking with two men who are bringing craft spirits to Central Florida. They distill right here, and they source their ingredients locally as well. We have Colby Thiessen and Chris Schmidt from Loggerhead Distillery out in Sanford. Welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for being here.
This is so exciting, especially since you brought some props with you today. So tell us about Loggerhead Distillery. Where is it? How did it come about? Take us back to the beginning.
Loggerhead is we're a distillery, a functioning distillery in downtown Sanford, in the historic district. It started with, as everything does, it's just an idea.
So were you two friends? How did you meet each other?
We work together, co-workers.
Okay. Can you say where you worked, or is it top secret?
No, probably should.
Do you still work there together?
I still work there.
Okay.
Well, we don't work there together. I still work there. Colby does not.
Okay. So you guys were co-workers somewhere else doing something that was
Something
not
else.
necessarily your passion.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
I'm a software engineer, and
Okay.
Colby's software engineer.
So you decided just to
Manager.
become engineering distillery thing.
Well, it has a lot of the same, it's both
It's surprising.
a science
Really?
Yeah.
and an art. So there's a lot of
Distilling,
engineering that goes along with it.
Okay.
And
so
you-
this is something you just would start talking about at work, like, hey, we should do this.
Yeah, we started talking about opening a distillery maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, worked on a business
And,
plan.
We'd talk about it at lunch,
Yep,
come up with stupid names for products.
Ooh.
that's true. That was bad.
Have they worked? Do
We
we
have
have
not
any?
ever used any of those products. They were
no.
horrible.
Do you sometimes drink your product and come up with good ideas too?
Yeah, were these liquid lunches? What sort of
Yes.
lunch are we talking
no,
about? Yeah.
No.
Traditional, standard lunch.
Okay. And so you just had this dream, this interest to start a distillery.
Yeah, I wanted to do something different and kind of do something I could be really passionate about and
Yeah.
put some energy in.
Yep. And I found the attraction as well as to the science side and the art side, and it really had it. It has both. So we worked on that plan, and it looked more real and more real, and so we just decided at one point to take the jump.
So was there one thing in particular that you wanted to really produce and then it kind of snowballed, or did you want to just produce everything? Because you guys produce a lot of different drinks.
Well,
Yes.
They keep looking at each other
Yes,
like, who wants to answer
well,
this one?
we started out with the idea that we were going to mainly produce rum.
Okay.
And we are in full rum production. But we're also going to do a single malt whiskey. Those will be our two main rum and single malts.
Yeah. But you have brought some vodka here today.
Yeah, we make vodka.
Okay.
yeah,
We'll make
It's
gin.
so much fun. We can't stop making other
Right.
stuff. So we're making whiskey and some bourbons and gins and.
And are you guys YouTubing how to figure this out? Or, I mean, because you said there's a lot of science behind it, so.
Really can't say how we started.
Okay.
Well,
We'll get into
For
it.
entertainment purposes.
For entertainment purposes only. Yes, YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Lisa was like, I need to get on
Yeah.
YouTube more often.
Well, you know,
Well, you can
see
find stuff
anything.
on
Yes,
YouTube.
Yeah. And
Okay.
do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, but I don't have anything on it.
Okay.
It's blank.
Okay. So you just had this idea. You had several lunches, decided you were going to put together a business plan. Now you're in Sanford. Are you actually making this at your place in Sanford?
Correct. All of this goes through our stills,
Okay.
and we make it. there.
Nothing's off-site.
We do not have an off-site facility yet.
Cool.
Hope so one day.
Tell us a little bit about the name, Loggerhead Distillery. How did you guys come up with that? What's the meaning behind that?
Well, growing up in Florida, and this story's like on our website too. We, feel a connection to like the outdoors, the ocean, boating, fishing, those types of things, surfing. Chris grew up over on the coast. I was there every weekend surfing and things like that. We just kind of threw the name out there, and we see the turtle nests up and down the beaches and things like that, and so we kind of just thought,
And
that was a fitting
it was
name
the
for.
he texted me, or I don't know if we were on the phone, but he was like, "How about Loggerhead?" And I was like, "Cool, yeah, that's it."
that
That
works.
was the only.
Easy.
That was the only name we ever even threw out there,
Yeah,
and
we
it
pitched
stuck.
It's like naming a baby.
That's, I was just thinking,
very
like, that's
simple.
kind of how it worked with our daughter, so that works too. And so you guys have everything really there in Sanford, but you also locally source all your ingredients as well. I mean, what type of growers? Where are they located?
We're working on that. It's a continual process.
Of course.
Some things we couldn't find locally, and so we're barrels, for example. We haven't found a local source for providing barrels and things like that. But we are trying to find as many local ingredients as we can. So it's more like a where feasible
Right.
type thing. We're looking for like a new molasses supplier, for example, in Florida. We use local honey in this product.
That's
Local
why I'm
orange
so
blossom
amazed
honey,
that you
so-
guys are already making so many different products at your facility. Because I have to imagine, I mean, it takes time to make a batch of vodka, and it's very different ingredients from making rum or whiskey. So how do you manage all of that where you produce enough and then you're able to produce the next thing that you need?
Well, I mean, we only produce in a small quantity. So for the sweet tea, we're only producing in about a 55-gallon capacity per batch. So each batch is going to be slightly different.
55 gallons. How many of these would that?
Those bottles,
Yes.
the sweet tea bottles.
250.
Okay.
So I mean, that's a nice sized barrel. So
yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
we're not talking
And
We're
wholesale.
not talking like industrial size
Yeah.
production facility.
How long does it take you to make like a batch of vodka or whiskey or rum? And do some take longer than others?
Well, a rum takes about 4 days to ferment, and it takes approximately 6 hours for the first distillation, and then we'll have to distill it again, so that'll take another 6 hours. So I don't even know the hours. It's just and just keep doing that.
And then does
Day
it have to
after day
sit
after
there?
day
Like,
after day.
does it have to sit there in the barrels and age for a
Well,
while? Or?
a white rum doesn't necessarily have to, but like obviously if you get a darker aged rum, it's going to go into the barrels, and we're getting it into barrels right now.
Okay.
Is there like a season that one, I don't know, like, how wine has their seasons and stuff. So I wasn't sure, is there like a season for vodka? Is there a season for rum? Is there where there's the sources just more available?
Here in Florida, it's all season, right?
It's all season.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they pretty much grow sugar cane year round in the South. So, I mean, molasses is available year round.
And you were talking about that you like to use a lot of like local citrus and stuff too. So here you brought in 2 bottles of vodka. One, I imagine, is just your traditional vodka, no flavor. This one is sweet tea. So how do you flavor it, and how many flavors do you guys offer?
Well, we only have 2 for sale right now. That's the vodka and the sweet tea. Now, we do tastings with the other experimental batches that we've come up with.
We have an orange blossom. We have a key lime gin. We have a brown sugar toffee rum. Those are just small samples to try to see how people like it.
What has the reaction been?
Loss of minds, usually. Yeah.
That's
They
good.
love it.
It's
That's
very
good.
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
We seldom get someone in who says something really bad, which isn't always, to me, it's not always bad to have someone say something bad,
Right.
because we
I've had a
get
few,
some
which is
not
good.
Some
They
constructive
must be
I was
afraid.
just
criticism.
going to say,
I
some constructive
thank them for
criticism is
their
never a bad
honesty.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you go to these, when people can go to these tastings, what's the atmosphere like? What's kind of the ambiance?
Tell us
if
where
people-
you are
yeah.
exactly, and why you selected that location.
Located? 124 West 2nd Street
Yeah.
in Sanford.
So it's
Right
right there on
downtown.
the
Corner
edge,
of Second,
Yeah.
corner of 2nd and Oak, in Sanford.
And what's that vibe like there? Because downtown Sanford is like blowing up. So there's all these breweries and restaurants and
It is.
It's
bars. It's
the first time I went down there, when Colby found a spot he wanted me to look at, I was just really impressed with, the vibe. It was very casual, but there's a lot going on. And as we've gotten, to know all of our neighbors and the business, it's very cooperative, and
Very
it's just
supportive.
it's a really positive environment around there.
people of Sanford have been really great, really great.
Yeah, and
the officials, the city officials as well. Wonderful.
So
and
when you
the
come
Sanfordites have been
Yeah.
extraordinary. I mean,
Really?
like all of the locals that come in and they're very, supportive. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, as a Seminole County resident, it's so nice when you go someplace like Sanford, where it is kind of that dressed down. It's not bougie. It's just kind of like you can be there, you can hang out with a group of friends, and it just can be for just for anybody really who just wants to go out there and have a good time.
I recently went on a bike tour in Sanford, one of the little party bike tours.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we probably
Do-
saw you. They go
Ri-
right by the front door.
Probably. Do they make a stop there? Because we didn't get to stop there. And you guys haven't been open, though, that long. This was
We've only
in
been
April.
open since April 26th.
Okay. And I
7
went April
weeks.
6th. So, and what has the reception been like? Like, what is the one thing that people seem to love the most? And what exactly, if you come into your distillery, do you guys offer? Is it just tastings? You can buy bottles there on site? How does it work?
Well, we're basically a gift shop by state law. We
Okay.
can't serve cocktails or charge for drinks. We provide a tasting. Eventually, we'll do a tour as we get a little bit more established. Where was I going with that?
We can sell bottles though.
You
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
sell bottles.
We sell shirts, hats. It's a gift shop, so
We
sell
were
a few
talking
other
a little
items
bit about
sometimes.
the merchandise.
Possibly underwear.
Underwear,
In the future.
You wanted-
socks.
Branded
You
underwear.
wanted to wear, not wear underwear, but you wanted to sell
Yes,
underwear.
I like to wear
Yes.
underwear. And,
But also socks. Any other, and hoodies? These are all
Hoodies.
things that you've been throwing around.
Yes. It looks like
anything and
Christmas
everything.
is right
I want
around
to
the
see
corner.
I want to see our Loggerhead logo on everything.
Who does
But
it?
Colby does not. He
He's like,
shoots
"Some
me
things
down
should be
every
private."
time I bring it. No, can't put that on that.
Well, I mean, and that's part of the growth. You were talking about the tours and the different things like that. I mean, what's next? What's the next step for Loggerhead?
For me, it's continuing to bring out products, and as we have to. Production isn't always the issue for us to bring up new products. It's usually that we have to go through the federal process to get the labels approved and the formulas approved, and
And that,
then
I imagine, takes a
streamlines.
lot of time. When you said this kind of came about
Takes
3
a lot
years
of his
ago.
time.
It takes your time,
Not
yeah.
mine.
It does, but it's it's the process, and I respect the process and the job that they have to do.
So
to take
who
care of those things.
approves your logo? How does that process work? Or your label, rather?
The federal government,
Okay, so you submit it to what agency? I mean,
the TTB.
which is?
The old ATF.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they just check for ingredients and making sure the percentage.
Do they
is-
test it? Yeah, I mean, how does that work?
Yeah.
They look at the label. There's a lot of regulations around what you can say and what you can't say. You have to make sure that you spell out what it actually is in the bottle, how the volume of the bottle, the alcohol content. You have to. I'd spin this around, but you have to have the government warning on the back. A few other things.
Government warning, like, don't get crazy.
Don't get crazy.
Yeah, gotcha.
You can't say it. Makes you smarter or something like that.
Understood.
Which
Which it could. It
It
could.
Makes everybody more beautiful.
So
It
I
does
mean,
some.
what would you say is your favorite product that you guys have made? Whether it's something that you guys have sold yet, or something that's still kind of in the experimental stage.
My favorite's a single malt, but we're not even doing tastings on that yet. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm pretty excited to get that out to the people soon.
I am too. There's whiskeys and bourbons are huge right now, so I'm excited to get to work on that. Plus, it's in collaboration with some of the other local businesses, and we're excited about working together with some of those guys.
So running a place like this, I mean, how many hours a week do you guys spend working there or producing this and marketing it and doing everything that it takes to make it a success?
What's 24 times 7?
Well,
It's around
we
the
live,
clock.
sleep,
Yeah.
breathe. His kids, he's
I was-
always saying that his kids are always like, distillery, distillery,
I
distillery.
was just going to say,
Yeah.
do you have kids or families? Because it's hard to do something like this, especially when you're
balancing
still
act.
working, and managing it all.
I have kids. I have dogs. I have wife,
Wife.
You have a son as well?
I have a son,
Yeah.
a dog.
Yes.
And a dog comes with me
Our
a lot.
distillery
and
dog. Yep.
Oh, there is a distillery dog.
there's a
Oh, well,
distillery
that's
dog.
nice.
Okay. And what's the name of the distillery dog?
Ladybug.
Ladybug. And she's
Yeah.
what?
She's a pit bull mix.
Oh,
Okay.
cute.
Is that your dog?
That's my dog.
Okay. It wasn't going to be Ladybug Distillery, huh?
No, I don't think we got Ladybug after.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we might have a Ladybug product.
Oh,
Oh,
that would
that'd
be a good
Something named
idea. Yeah.
Ladybug.
So you've done several tastings. You guys have, like you said, have been open since April. Is there a clear winner when you have customers come in terms of what they like the most?
We've had a good response to the tea, and we have a good response to an apple pie moonshine.
An apple pie
yeah.
moonshine.
Yeah, and the apple pie moonshine will be coming out in the next month or so. Next, probably August.
So what exactly is moonshine? I mean, because I've had apple pie moonshine in Gatlinburg, but what is it? What am I drinking when I drink that? Is it vodka?
Well,
Questions
I mean,
asked now. No.
Well, when you get it from a licensed distillery, it's just it's not really moonshine because moonshine is a legal liquor.
Okay.
So it's more of a moniker.
So it's a little mix of stuff.
No, I mean it can be corn, it can be rum. You can make a moonshine out of sugar molasses, sugar, corn, barley. It's just moonshine is a pretty broad term.
So it's just alcohol.
It's just alcohol. Well, I
Don't
mean, I
worry
cannot
about it.
I cannot speak for if you go out into the mountains of North Carolina and buy
Right.
someone's cousin from the back of a truck, which
So,
I
you know
don't
Lisa's
recommend
family,
doing.
yeah.
You know what it has in it.
Yeah, the apple pie I'm sure is a huge hit. And have you been experimenting with other moonshine flavors?
We're talking about coming out with a watermelon moonshine for.
Yeah, that was my
Summer.
my
That'd be
11-year-old son's idea. He was like, "I want to do a watermelon moonshine." Now I
That's
said,
good.
you can't taste it and help us develop this, right? But he's working hard on the marketing. Him and Colby. One day he was there and Colby was working with them on a flyer for the product and everything. So he's pretty excited about that one.
I love that too because you guys are following your passion, you're doing something, and it is a dedication and it does take time away from your family, but you're involving them. And what a great learning experience for your kids to be able to witness this, how you guys are just creating this business from the ground up. Have they talked to you at all about that, like their experience and how exciting it is for them?
It's a mix sometimes. Sometimes, like Chris mentioned, they're like, "Oh, we got to go to the distillery again." But when they get there, they like it. They like taking part in the whole process, like seeing the process happen. They don't take part in it, but they
get to taste.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Not
okay,
yet.
we don't
Here,
put
son,
any
yet.
come try
work,
this
but,
off the still.
They like watching it being bottled and those types of things, and us labeling the bottles and those and so on.
So Chris, you mentioned that Chris is from along the coast, somewhere in Central Florida?
I'm from Brevard.
Okay, and are you from Sanford, or why exactly did you guys settle on Sanford?
It depends on how far you go back. I was born in California.
Okay.
But my family moved here when I was young. So they actually moved to Enterprise, which is across Lake Monroe from Sanford. I ended up going to middle school in Sanford.
Okay.
And when I came back from school, I moved back into the area again. So
Yeah.
Pulled you right back in, didn't
pulled me
it?
right back
And
in.
there's been a huge transformation. I mean, really in just like the past 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, they're really revitalizing that place.
It is. I think Chris mentioned earlier as well that I had said, hey, what about, we were talking about places where, to set up, and I said, hey, why don't you come take a look at Sanford? And I think he came over, and didn't you end up spending like the whole weekend there or something?
Well, I drove around, took my
Yeah.
dog to the dog park,
Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah,
little
and
spot.
came
Drove
back and
over
said-
from Brevard County.
So that's
No,
it.
I live in this area now.
Okay.
But I was from Brevard.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are surprised if they're not familiar with Sanford and they just go there for the first time with,
Oh, yeah.
how great it is in that downtown area. And there are so many great restaurants and bars. I mean, what do you,
There really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I don't want to say it's surprising, but it's really becoming like a destination. There's
Yeah.
a lot to do, and there's a lot of good things to do. And restaurants as well. Like there's some good food being made out there.
And every new restaurant or brewery or distillery that moves into that area is only making the whole place, more attractive and more desirable for people to come. But I believe you guys are the only distillery there right now.
Currently.
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, you guys, there's not a lot of distilleries in Central Florida in general.
Yeah, I think we're the first
right.
distillery in Seminole County.
Legal, yeah.
Well, that goes without saying.
Of course,
Legal.
yes.
So do you, being the only distillery, do you have plans to maybe, travel around? Are there like distillery conventions? Are there, big events community events where people can go and judge different liquors?
There are, several and many all over the place that we just came back from Denver from a conference out there. And there's, those are great to go to as well because not only can you submit your spirits to be judged, which we haven't been able to do quite yet, but as soon as we have some that we want to put out there, we will. But there's training, education and those types of things.
Probably different types of technology that people can use as well. I mean, so if someone's listening and they say, okay, I'm interested, what type of drinkers are you looking at? Is this more of a kind of a more old-fashioned type of spirits? I mean, what would you describe most of your liquors as? If you had to describe it. Because you guys have
Did
a
we
little...
stump you?
Fantastic.
I was just like, perfect.
That's one word.
Because you
yeah.
have apple pie, you have key
Yeah.
lime pie, you have a sweet tea. I mean, so it's just kind of a good Florida feeling spirit.
That's kind of, we wanted to try to bring a little Florida into the, our spirits, the things that we do, where we can. So that's that was one of the reasons we use local orange blossom honey in the tea instead of just like a white sugar or something like that. Key limes in our key lime gin, that sort of thing. So,
Do you have a regular gin or just key lime gin?
Right now, it's just key lime gin.
Sells well?
Yeah. I imagine it
Well, we don't-
does.
Well, it's only for-
it tastes
Oh, it's just
out.
for tasting,
yes,
right.
and it tastes out quick.
It disappears quickly.
So
Yeah.
which spirits are you actually selling in your store?
The vodka today.
Uh-huh.
The sweet tea in a week and a half.
Okay.
4th of July, we're going to release it.
Okay.
Nice.
And tell us about the vodka, because it's corn-based.
It's corn-based. It's been distilled 7 times. And I tell people when they come in, we don't filter it a number of times. We filter it continuously for sometimes days, whatever it takes to get it to be the smoothest that we feel like it can be. So
What would you liken it to? Is it like a Tito's, like a Grey Goose, none of the above?
Oh, he just like shook it and he's like, ah.
no.
No. Okay. So, I mean, if someone wants to, see what it's like, but they can't get over there there's nothing you would compare it to?
I wouldn't know if I would compare it to anything. I can just say that it's probably one of the smoothest vodkas that I've
Okay.
ever tried.
We can get on board with that.
If I didn't have 3 hours of news to anchor, I would taste it right
I
here.
find that a horrible excuse, and I think you should try
You know,
some.
the newscast would just go so much faster.
I know,
wouldn't
right?
it?
I know, yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in, and it seems like you guys, have a great business going there in Sanford. Great spot, great idea, great logo. Did you personally create the logo, or did you hire someone to do that?
No,
Colby did.
we made it.
Okay, so you're a little bit artist too.
He does all the labels,
Uh-huh.
the logo, Arlen marking material.
So you guys are artists, engineers,
Yes.
scientists, you name it.
Let me
you guys
go on
are-
and on and on
Yeah.
about all the things that Colby does.
Well,
so
As a startup, sometimes you have to
A lot
do
of
as much
hats.
as you can, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Absolutely.
the art and the science is both what, attracted me to the whole process in the first place, so.
And if anyone's interested in finding you guys, you have your website, you have Facebook, Twitter. I mean, how can people get a hold of you?
we're on Facebook and Instagram,
On our website.
And what do you search? Just
Loggerhead Distillery.
okay. Keep it simple.
And we'll find you guys. I'm going
Right.
to come up there and taste
Looking
it
forward to
soon.
you guys
Yeah.
come by and trying it.
Are you open 7 days a week, or?
No, we're open Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay.
Close Mondays and Tuesdays.
Close at 2 a.m.?
No, we close at 9 on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
So
Get
we're
there
not
early.
a, we're not
you
a
go there
bar,
before
so
dinner.
Get there early, yeah.
Do some shopping and then go out for dinner.
pregame.
There you go. We like it. Well, keep an eye on those 2 bottles because they might disappear. I don't know who might, but they might disappear.
Thank you guys so much. We really
Thank you. I
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Florida Foodie. We'd also like to thank our guests, Colby Thiessen and Chris Schmidt from Loggerhead Distillery. You can learn more about the distillery at loggerheaddistillery.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram. Be sure to follow Lisa Bell and Candace Campos as well. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also find Lisa's children's book online. Look for normangnomebooks.com. Also, a big thank you to our technical producers, Derek Mosier and Ryan Hawley. I'm the show's producer, Thomas Mates. Florida Foodie is available to download wherever you get your podcasts, and please take the time to rate and review us there as well. You can also find videos of all of our podcasts on clickorlando.com/podcasts.